Our response to Lordstown. Okay, welcome back everyone to Savage Guy Finance.
Hey everybody, I'm Darren.
I'm Vic. Okay, so we wanted to have a talk about, because we put out our video about Lordstown and we got a whole bunch of angry responses.
We got a lot of angry responses.
Okay, so this is our little response to that. Okay, so let's just look at, we did that video April 4th or so.
We shot it on April 4th, that was a Sunday. The market, we were using the numbers from the market closing on Friday, April 2nd.
Okay, and since that video was released,
yeah.
So already in that video we mentioned that Lordstown had a huge drop in share price.
Yes.
Since we did that video, it's lost another 400 million in market cap, and that's basically like a 20% in value.
Right.
So I would say, like, despite all the angry responses that we got and everyone calling us an idiot, I would say we're correct so far. And we're definitely in the driver's seat in terms of this trade, right?
Yeah, I'd say so. I mean, like we try to structure our portfolios as though we were managing other people's money, right? Was that fair to say? Like, if you were a money manager,
sure, yeah.
You wouldn't. So yeah, you wouldn't look at Lordstown as a company that you would include in your fund, right?
No, and okay, so let's like break that down. So like recently, so just this weekend we had the Berkshire Hathaway shareholder meeting.
Right.
So and Warren Buffett used his introductory comments to partly to shine light on exactly what we're talking about.
Right.
So he was talking about automakers, and he was relating that onto this craze that we're seeing in electrical vehicle stocks.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so and he put out a slide where he showed the automakers, just the automakers that started with MA.
Okay.
And that slide of all the defunct automakers that start with MA, that took up the entire slide.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, well, like right from the early 1900s, and you can see like some of them lasted a year, maybe 2, maybe 5 years.
Wow.
But he was saying that out of all of that, in the end, only 3 survived.
Right.
And 2 of them went bankrupt in 2009.
Right.
So then that's the auto industry. It's a very competitive industry. It's a very capital-intensive industry. It's a very difficult industry to make it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why Warren Buffett was saying, and that's sort of our comments on electrical vehicle stocks that people just aren't getting. But
yeah, we were being called. One of the angry comments called us members of the Tesla cult, but we don't like Tesla either, right?
No, but we are sort of consistent, because we said at least Tesla is making stuff,
mm-hmm.
and they're making and they have revenue, and they're making some profits.
Right.
Lordstown wasn't making anything.
No.
They were just losing $100 million, right? So there wasn't like anything to really hang your hat on at all.
So one of our viewers said, "See you in September." What does that mean? What's happening in September with Lordstown?
So like Lordstown, like they've had production delays for a couple of years now. Okay. So like the new date is going to be September, where they're going to make a truck, but we will see.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll see.
They're going to make a truck in September. Okay. Yeah. And it, like, okay, part of me feels bad because like we had a sensational title saying garbage stocks, Lordstown. I mean, I understand that's people started that company wanting to do a good thing, and they're working hard,
right.
to but nothing about that company, the way that they've handled themselves so far, makes me feel any kind of trust about putting my money in.
Yeah, so I mean, we were looking at the Hindenburg Report. So people were saying like, oh, you're just quoting the Hindenburg Report. Mm-hmm. So the Hindenburg Report was.
I didn't even know what the Hindenburg Report was, but what is it?
So it's the Hindenburg Group. They're a company that shorts stocks. So they're the ones who shorted Nikola.
Okay. And
they exposed Nikola for faking their video of just rolling their truck down the hill.
Okay.
And they also pointed out problems with Lordstown. Mm-hmm. So, but they're also shorting Lordstown. Mm-hmm. So they do stand to benefit from Lordstown's stock not doing well.
Okay.
So people think, oh well, that's a conflict of interest, and that we should just discount the report. But it's like, just because that company is shorting Lordstown doesn't invalidate the information that they're putting out.
Right. They're not making anything up. Right.
Yes. Their truck did catch on fire.
Yeah.
And their orders are not real orders. I mean, and people say like, well, it was stated that the orders were non-binding.
Okay.
But the CEO did go on Jim Cramer on CNBC, and he called the orders serious orders.
Okay.
So it definitely implied that there was actually some money and actual interest behind the orders, but that doesn't really seem to be the case.
Because if you call, if you look at who's making the orders and you call up those companies, what do you find?
That's what Hindenburg Group did. Okay. So that they were like, they called up some people who ordered like 14,000 trucks.
Yeah.
And they're not a commercial fleet, a company. They're just like two guys in an apartment.
Okay.
So it's like
all right. Maybe they have dreams.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, like we haven't verified that on our own.
Right.
But I mean, that is the report, and if Hindenburg's lying, then Lordstown can go take Hindenburg to court.
Okay.
But I don't think they've done that. So.
Right.
So that aspect of it, there's just a lot of problems. Like it's like, especially with like a startup that's not making anything.
Yeah.
You don't want to have that kind of negative news surrounding it.
Right. Yeah, you would want to, I don't know, I would want to put my money into a company that's just kind of doing things right.
Yeah. And I mean, the reason that we wanted to make that video, and it was like a larger, that clip was part of a larger video that we did, where we were basically talking about portfolio allocation, and we were saying like, you have to have your defensive stocks, your solid companies they've been around for a long time, or like ETFs and stuff that track the whole market, and maybe you want to put a portion of your, like a small portion of your portfolio into companies that you're not sure about that could grow. But even Lordstown, I personally wouldn't even put that in my
as part of your risky
my risky portfolio, because it's like what we're looking for in terms of what we want to invest in. We want to see production, we want to see revenue, and we want to see profits.
Right.
And maybe there's not profits right away, but we got to see something. We got to see like actual product, or like just some sort of sales going on.
Right. Yeah. But now, like the people who were making angry comments in our video were saying, "Well, it's a startup. It's a startup." Like how? So me sort of playing devil's advocate here. How can you expect a startup to have anything yet?
Yeah, but okay, at the same time, then their startup, like, so at one point, Lordstown was worth $6 billion.
Okay.
There's no rational reason why it should be worth $6 billion when they're not making anything.
Why were they worth $6 billion? Is that just all of the retail investors pumping?
Yeah, because they're only like the market cap. So the market cap is basically just the number of shares times the price.
Yeah.
So the market cap of a company is just what the market values it. And the market for a company is whoever's buying into the company.
Okay.
So you got to look at who's buying into the company.
Right.
So it's all these guys on Robinhood who, I mean, well, we're not trying to bash anyone, but like really they're new to the market. They're not, they're getting, I think, overly excited about this new trendy industry that's emerging, and they think, we're going to make a lot of money and it's going to be like a no-brainer. And it's like, no, it's not a no-brainer. I mean, you have no idea which of these companies are going to make it, and that was Warren Buffett's point.
Okay.
Is that there were so many automakers in the early 1900s, and so many of them went bankrupt.
Right.
Like, how does anyone know that Lordstown is going to make it?
Right.
It's very difficult to say, especially since they haven't actually made anything and they haven't sold anything. And the reason we're making these videos is that we don't want to see people lose half their money or like all their money on some risky bet, especially if they're like a 25-year-old starting with $10,000.
Yeah. So some of our comments were we had a couple of younger people saying, well, if you invest $10,000 when you're 25. And you lose it, that's no big deal. And they thought losing $10,000 as a 25-year-old was no big deal compared to losing it as a 65-year-old. But it's the opposite, right?
Well, I would say it's the opposite, because I would feel much better losing $10,000 when I was 65. Granted that I have like a substantial stock market portfolio to begin with, right?
Right.
Because at 65, if you lose $10,000, you lose $10,000 for your retirement.
Right.
But if you're 25 and you lose $10,000, the opportunity cost of that is that you're actually losing about $200,000 for your retirement. Because if you just put that into a simple S&P 500, and you get like a 8% return, you're going to end up with about $200,000 adjusted for inflation.
Yeah.
So I mean that's the gamble that you're taking. So it's like, don't ask yourself like, okay, am I willing to lose $10,000? You should ask, am I willing to lose $200,000 on something like Lordstown? And I hope the answer is no, but
again, we don't want anyone to lose money, and we're not like, I mean, I know we're coming down hard on Lordstown, but we hope it works out for you. If you invested in Lordstown, we hope it works out for you.
Yeah, we don't have any stake in it at all, but it's like we're just making these videos like as our point of view and our opinion on the market, and I hope people will like it and subscribe.
Yeah, please, please subscribe.
All right, thanks for tuning in, guys. Average Guy Finance. See ya.
Hey everybody, we hope you liked that video. We hope it didn't make you too angry. We don't want to make anybody angry. But
if you liked it, please like and subscribe.
Yeah, subscribe is the big thing. Just hit the subscribe down there. And then here are some more videos that you can watch if you feel like it.